here playing some historic best of 3 Merfolk. Still trying out the deck with Jet Collector in it in the 2-drop card advantage slot that I was running Silver Gills in before. It's been surprisingly good in the grindier matchups. Being able to return some value cards or lords pays off a lot of the time. And I wasn't really expecting it to be good when we first saw it being spoiled, but it's fit really nicely into the deck with the Cenote Scout and the Tunnel Guides. Tempting to run some more folks that can do some exploring, pitch cards to the yard. I've been toying around with more ideas, either increasing the number of Tunnel Guides or maybe running some Merfolk Branchwalkers. We'll see how that goes in the next while. All right, we're playing against CH Ventura on the draw. We have not played against CH Ventura before. No companion, an Elspeth sleeve, so potentially some sort of white deck. This seems keepable, lots of disruption, and a Jet Collector to try out. Let's see how they start. White-green, hopefully life gain and not combo. Haven't seen an Amalia combo deck in a while. Oh, enchantments. Great. So we can put a stop on their end step and Trickster that Slithis next turn, and then plan to Tidebinder at the turn after that. So, start of the turn, let's keep them from gaining any life or drawing any cards as long as we can. Luckily, we've got that Secluded Courtyard in hand as well. Well, that Destiny Spinner keeps us from attacking with that Trickster, so we'll just pass the turn over. We can get the Slithis turned off now. They'll often run some enchantment-based removal, things like ossification and that kind of thing, so I don't know if I expect that Tidebinder to live forever, but if we can keep the card count in their hand down, we hope to be able to out-muscle them sooner than later. So what we're going to do here is offer to trade a 2-for-1. We're taking a bit of a gamble with a couple of lands on the table, but we'll play out a Lord and get in. If we lose that Lord at instant speed, we'd be in trouble. They probably have a plan, because they did not chump block with Slithis either. Sithis, I've been mispronouncing that. Huh. They're going searching for something. Let's hope we've got them on the back foot and they're having to search for an answer, and that this isn't for a second piece of their combo that they need. We do have some answers for the deck. Yeah, he went for an ossification, so that's good. Either going to take out that Tidebinder or the Reach to take the pressure off. All right, he wants to get Sithis online. Playing another Sterling Grove's not too bad for us. If they have to use that to search, we can actually Tidebinder its ability. I don't know that that's what we want to do, but it is an option. 4th land, but not the kind we wanted here. So we're going to push in and offer some trades again. We'll play the Sanctum. Now the question is, do we hold this up? No, I've got to put some pressure on. So we'll untap the Secluded Courtyard. Put a Lord out. This lets me swing in with the Reach. It offers to trade the Destiny Spinner for the Reach. I don't think they'll take that. And then we'll do another stop on their upkeep. Oh, that's not actually going to help us because of the Sterling Grove. Let's put it there in case they crack the Sterling Grove right now. So they're doing the Prismatic Vista. This is the first match where the life loss from that new Prismatic Vista card has been meaningful as far as the opponent's deck goes. Phyrexian Unlife is the best out of the combo pieces we could see here. We have some answers to remove or bounce it, depending on whatever else or what else they have got going on. Probably not going to make an error and attack in here. That would be strange. So we're going to cast a Merfolk Trickster, tap down that last land. We get to act with a little bit of safety. Not the best thing in the world. So what we're worried about now is pushing in enough damage to get them into 0 or below 0 and then dealing with the Phyrexian Unlife, which is going to be nasty. So yeah, we're just going to get in with the team here. So he's either got to sack some creatures or put himself into the position of being under 0 life. So we're going to cast a Kumena and hold up Tishana's Tidebinder, I think. We don't have enough cards in the yard to get Jet Collector online, and unfortunately it's not going to be a critical card in this match. We'd really need to hold up that Tidebinder. Given that he's searching for something with Sterling Grove, we don't want him to. So we're going to tap down Sanctum Weaver, take away some of his mana options, and counter that tutor ability. It's always possible that he has the Solemnity in hand to go with that Unlife, and we're in big trouble if that's the case, but then at least we've got Kumena on the table to help us draw for cards. Now that we've got them into the -7 life range, we're not really worried about doing more damage, we're just worried about drawing answers. So those answers look like either Boseiju, Otawara, or that's pretty much it actually, because this doesn't have an activated ability we can remove with Tidebinder. So we're digging into one of our 2 lands. Interesting, he doesn't want to play that game out. I think he had a really good chance of keeping that in hand. Okay, against enchantments, what do we bring in? Definitely another Tidebinder. That's always good. We're not worried about Shaper's Sanctuary. It would be great to steal some of those early creatures. Sithis or the tap. Their Mana Dork. Yeah, I think Vidalian Mindsinger comes in. Do we bring in Phyrexian Revoker? None of the combo pieces we care about are activated abilities. And the Sterling Grove, we actually often need them to pull that, to use that in order to get the Shroud off of the pieces we need to hit. I think those are what we need to bring in for sure. Then the question is whether or not we want to bring in creature removal. I don't know if we want to do Tail Swipe because some of their creatures can get pretty big and they get Shroud, but a couple of Eaten by Piranhas might slow them down early. I think that's our plan for this game. Coming out, we've got to draw through our deck, so everything that lets us put things in the graveyard or draw cards is going to be important. So obviously we're keeping Kumena. I think here we drop... the 4 Pearl Tridents and one of the Shoreline Scouts. We don't really need to get that big in this match, and they obviously don't have islands. So let's see how that works out. We have a Boseiju in hand, but unfortunately can't keep this with no blue mana. That is quite a bit better, and they have gone down to 6, so we will keep this. What do we get rid of here? Probably the Reed. Everything else is not disruption, and he doesn't want to wait and see. He must have had a bad mull 2-6. And I guess that's a game. All right, we've got an opponent here, CH Ventura. We actually just played against this opponent a few minutes ago. They are on green-white enchantments. So 2 Tricksters and 2 Tidebinders is not a bad start against enchantments. We're on the draw, but we'll keep this. So we'll do a tapped breeding pool. No sense spending life that we don't need to. Early Sterling Grove, that's fine. We'll play a Botanical Sanctum and pass. They are considerably on the front foot here. We'll be able to Tidebinder that Sithis next turn, probably. Oh, I was looking to see what green spell they might have to cast, but it's just the activation of the Sterling Grove that's being held up. So we'll swing in. If they have any tricks or shenanigans to kill a lonely Merfolk Trickster, it would be great if they use them. Let's see what comes out next. Unless they're playing something that we can deal with outright, we're going to end up using the Tidebinder on Sithis here and removing their ability to draw cards. One of the biggest places we lose against green-white enchantment decks is they can get way, way out ahead on card advantage and just get into that point where they're not technically going infinite, but they can create so much mana and draw so many cards off of the low-cost enchantments they're running that we just can't come back from it. So next turn, if we draw another 2-drop, we might hold up just that Trickster. If we don't draw another 2-drop, yeah, we'll play the Breeding Pool and get in for 5 here. See if they will block with that Sithis. We will definitely hit the activation of the Sterling Grove if we get an opportunity, or anything else. I won't hit the Enchantress's Presence because Tishana's ability does not work on enchantments permanently. We can counter 1 critical card draw, but not more than that. Well, it looks like we probably get to hit the ability on a second Sithis. Would really love to draw a 2-drop Lord off the top of the deck here. Lets us get in with all of the creatures that we've got. What we want to do is pressure them to have to make decisions like cashing in that Sterling Grove. Not a 2-drop Lord, but if he sends the Trickster to the graveyard, it's a start towards using that Jet Collector's ability. For now, he will just be a 2/2 when we play him. I think we need to... It's tempting to play the Svelian, but I want to hold up the Trickster in my hand to represent a 3rd Tidebinder and make him second guess activating that Sterling Grove. That's what I got him with on the last game. So we're going to manually tap mana, keep the Cavern of Souls up, cast that Jet Collector and have another body on the board, and pass. With only 2 blockers currently, even if he gets a Phyrexian Unlife on the board, we can still push him through to 0. Greater Oromancy, giving everything Shroud isn't the end of the world. That is going to make things a challenge. We're going to have to hit them a bunch. Alright, lots of Shroudy things. He's going to be able to activate those Sterling Groves next turn. Come in with our Merfolk Trickster. Collected Company. Do we want to hit this before attacks? No, I don't think so. We're just trying to get them into minus range here. Solemnity is the card that will just outright kill us. Their Greater Oromancy prevents our ability from stopping it. I don't think we have a way we can actually stop Solemnity here. We'll cast this, try and hit or copy a Tishana's Tidebinder. Ooh, that's a rough hit, but it hits exactly what we need, so we'll cancel that Sterling Grove. But he has enough on the other Sterling Grove to be able to go get the Solemnity and prevent us giving him poison counters. And then we need to deal with the Greater Oromancy and then bounce a Phyrexian Unlife. That's a tall order. We technically still have the outs to do this, but it's getting further and further away. We'll put out a Svelian and attack in with, we'll do everybody to mask it a little bit. Oh, except that one. We don't want Sithis to get their ability back. I'd love it if they block a little bit here. It'd be great. They're not going to. So I'm just going to run out the Pearl Trident. Shouldn't be relevant, but if we somehow get to attack through that unlife, the more creatures we have, the better. I'm going to drop a third Sithis and start to go off with card draw. That's fine. I think we've pretty much lost this game. We need to draw 2 specific cards. Svelian will help with that, being able to attack every turn, but not as much as a Kumeno or something else would. We do have to be conscious of them getting over -6 life. Oh, Ghostly Prison in the main. That's obnoxious. All right, well, we've got a Collected Company. Let's see what we draw off the Svelian. Once again, we need a Boseiju and a Odawara. Both drawn off the top of the deck somehow before they lock this down. Another Great Oromancy or a Sterling Grove locks out our 2 options. Okay, Solemnity. Second Solemnity is not what we're worried about. Granted, now if he gets over 0 life again, at that point we will scoop, because our double card out no longer kills him outright. And I think he's going to get there this turn. At this point, we're mostly playing to see what other shenanigans this deck has going on. We didn't see much in game 1 or in match 1 earlier on tonight. They ended up scooping fairly early and then scooping game 3 after some bad mulls. Surprised they didn't take Svelian on that ossification. Another Enchantress Presence. That's all fine. They're at 0 now. 1 more enchantment cast puts them out of range. I don't know if they have a non-standard win con here. Destiny Spinner is often enough of a win con on its own when they can make a ton of mana, and it's their land creature has trample and haste. Eventually they'll just run over everything that we can throw at it, and they can afford to sack the lands. So we're going to scoop here and go to the next game. All right, so things we need. We could try and revoke a Destiny Spinner, but at that point we've lost the game. So we're going to bring in Tishana's Tidebinder and the Mindsinger to steal some creatures. We'll bring in the Eaten by Piranhas to turn creatures off. Tailswipe. No, Tailswipe I think is relevant. I didn't bring it in last time, but seeing the number of Sithis and Destiny Spinners that they're bringing in might be worthwhile. Things we're going to take out here. We don't need the Shoreline Scouts really in the matchup. We just need to draw into our outs to win it and put some pressure on them. Kumeno can be great for drawing out, so we're going to leave that. Jet Collector, I think, comes out in this one. It's great for grinding, but it is not fast enough for what we need. And then we've got to take out 2 more creatures. We keep in all of our disruption. So the question here is Reach or Pearl Trident. They don't have any lands, so I think the 2 Pearl Tridents come out. And actually thinking about this, having our mana high and having green is going to be important. So I think we should have actually left 2 of those scouts in. So we took out 1 Shoreline Scout and 4 Pearl Tridents in the end, as well as our 3 Jet Collectors, to add in a bunch of our removal suite with the Mind Singers, with the Eaten by Piranhas and the Tail Swipes. Let's see how game 2 goes. We were definitely on the back foot the entire time in game 1. Let's see if we can put some pressure. This is some reasonable pressure with a little bit of disruption. Pretty much how we want to draw it up. So Cenote Scout out and draws into that 4th land. That's pretty good. I wouldn't have minded putting a 1/1 counter on that guy so that they can start getting in, but that is good enough. Starting off with a commune. I don't think that's good or bad for us one way or another. Pulling a Buseju. They know about the island, so we'll play that. Swing in, and then play the Tunnel Guide. I don't think the Mutavault's going to be online anytime soon, but I think that's the land we're going to play next turn. Again, just giving us more options for pressure. Oh, nothing. All right. Mutavault comes out. Let's swing in for these 3, and we'll see what they play next turn. Okay, a Fragment Reality on our 1-drop is great. Knowing they have Fragment Reality in the deck is good. It's a good option against anything that temporarily removes their abilities. Is he going to crack the Sterling Grove right away? That'd be too much to ask for. So I kept the Tidebinder in hand there, and we'll go with the Collected Company if we need it this turn, because if we can turn off that Sterling Grove's draw ability or tutor ability, that is good news for us. They didn't activate it, so that means they're probably using it for its Shroud. So here comes a Sithis. And an Ossification. All right, so we're going to Collected Company here, trying to hit a Tidebinder for that Sithis and potentially even counter that Ossification to keep 1 more off the board. Oh, that's a rough Collected Company. Getting eaten alive by our sideboard. So this is worth noting. That is some pretty greedy sideboarding options when we bring in all of our removal, because it reduces our chances of hitting good Cocos or even hitting anything on a Coco. So now we are back on the back foot. Hexcatcher's not a bad draw. So we've still got the Hexcatcher up and a Tidebinder for Sithis' ability. We can cast both this turn and then get back to attacking. But they're up on a bunch of mana now. Then the question is going to be, do we counter this Solemnity? I think we're going to have to. Oh, this is great. Let's see what we pull off of this. We got a new Tunnel Guide in. Draw a land off of its trigger. Then we can cast the Hexcatcher. We will put our counter on the Hexcatcher. We don't want that, but we're triggering twice, so we're going to pitch it. And then we can counter the Solemnity because he does not have his uncounterable guy on the board yet. Fragment Reality, if you're watching this and you're not a Merfolk player, do not run it against Merfolk. It is terrible. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got the mana next turn for Storm Giants, which is great. So let's play that. Play a Glasspool Mimic. Trigger that. Pump him up. Not even going to bluff here. I'm just going to get in for some damage. Storm Giants isn't super relevant here unless it happens to help us push through that last damage before they can get the combo down. They only have 4 mana up. That Plains looks really intimidating with the Ossification, but it doesn't add that much mana. Alright, we gotta let this Ossification resolve. But 2 mana removal spells at this stage of the game are not bad for us. All right, and a Sanctum Weaver on the board. Oh, Collected Company, we like that. So I don't think there's a purpose in casting that Mind Singer here. I think we're just going to pass the turn. Hopefully, we can tempt him into using that Sterling Grove and getting rid of that Shroud. That's a lot of mana. Okay. Can't counter it anyway, so that all resolves. And we've got a Solemnity on the board. Yeah, we are in big trouble here because we need to get rid of that Sterling Grove and either the 9 lives or Solemnity and do a bunch of damage. And we haven't done enough damage yet to really make sure we're going to push through. Okay. Second Sterling Grove, I think we're pretty much done because we don't have any specific anti-enchantment options. I'm going to cast this and see what we hit. Nothing super useful. Some card drawing. Pump up that Sphelion, see what's on top. Rouge doesn't do what we need. Yeah, here, short of them making a serious error, neither of those has an activated ability we can get with a Tidebinder. The Sterling Groves protect each other. Yeah, he has won it. I'm going to scoop and call that for tonight. Well, that's unfortunate. The first match against this opponent went much, much better for us, but it balances out. That combo can be tough to beat, and because we haven't been hitting a lot of enchantments, we don't have a lot of enchantment answers. We're not running our Masked Vandals or anything along those lines, so we kind of have to count on the situational cards being relevant against what they draw, and in this match, they just weren't.